Hey everybody, this is CJ from Bibles on a Budget, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Holy Bible, New Living Translation, personal size, giant print from the folks at Tyndale. This is also, if you did not know, a filament-enabled Bible. So we'll talk about that in a second. But this is what I would say my first decent, like really awesome NLT. Let me give you a quick background of this. I was not a complete fan of the NLT. I like the Bible. It's not my primary. It's not something I go to often, but I think it's nice, especially when you're reading through narratives and stuff. So, I learned about it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I got one and I was like, this is not bad. It's very dynamic, but it's not bad. And if you're not familiar with the New Living Translation, the New Living Translation is actually a translation and a update, I guess, in a sense of the Living Bible. I'm sure many of you out there have actually had, if your parents or if you yourself, if you're an older individual, may have had the Living Bible. The Living Bible was a paraphrase written by Ken Taylor, who is the founder of Tyndale House Publishings, which is a great place to get Bibles. They have King James, New Living Translation. I think they have another version. I can't remember what it is, but it's really awesome. All right, so let's take a look here at the box. So it comes with a two-piece box. This is actually, let me show you it real quick. This is actually the black genuine leather. So this Bible, I got this off of Christian bookstores, and you actually can get this for $50. You might be able to get this for less now, so definitely check that out. But let's just take a look at what the box shows here. So here's the Bible. This is a personal size, so it's a smaller Bible. It's more compact, more portable. It does have the words of Christ in red, so if you're not a fan of that, this may not be the NLT for you. If you want to try an NLT, I believe there are cheaper NLTs that have the words of Christ in black, but there are also smaller letters. So, be aware of that. This also has lay flat Smythe sewn binding. So this is Smythe sewn. So if you have any desire someday to rebind this is for people who want to rebind their Bibles. If you happen to buy a cheap Bible and you want to know, hey, is the block good? This is a Smythe sewn, and that's what rebinders really want. But we're not talking about rebinding on this channel. We're talking about the Bibles themselves, getting them for who they are. This also has a full color visual overview of the Bible, so we're going to talk about that as well. On the side here, not too much. Again, NLT, personal size, there's the Bible, and the Filament-Enabled. We'll talk about that as well in a second. So here's the back. You kind of have some quotes from people. I want a lightweight Bible that's easy to read. I want to understand the Bible better. Welcome to both. So again, it gives you some list. It is a list. Sorry, my brain sometimes. Ooh. Here's a list of the features. So what's inside? Again, words of Christ in red. It is a Smythe sewn. Got the Tyndale verse finder, full color visual overview of the Bible, presentation page, ribbon marker, trusted and much loved New Living Translation, and then exclusive access to the Filament Bible app for your phone or tablet. And then over here you have some information for what is Filament. Basically, Filament is a Bible study app. So it contains over 25,000 study notes, 350 videos, 40 maps, 400 profiles and articles, and 1,500 devotionals. And you can use the Bible with or without it. And then if you want to know how to use it, if you get it, just buy the Bible, download the app, and then, yeah. So, enough of the box. Let's get to the Bible itself. So let's open up this puppy, and I'll put this down here. So here's the Bible. Bum, 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 bum. Awesome. All right, so let's move the rest of the box out of that way. And here's the Bible. So I have also read out of this Bible a little bit as well. It's a little dusty because I don't typically read out of it a whole lot. But here we go. So this is black genuine leather. Typically genuine leather, I believe, is cowhide. There are some cases when it's pig. So there's that. So here you go. It's really nice. I like the design of the Bible itself. Super clean, super. I love black. Black is one of my favorite colors. Down here, you can see it comes with one red ribbon marker. But again, if you're somebody who does not like these ribbon markers, this one has not frayed on me. Probably because I haven't read it or used it a lot, but it still hasn't frayed on me, so it looks pretty good. All right, so going on the side here. Here's the spine. So super clean. Just says Tyndale Holy Bible NLT. It does bother me that they're all in different fonts. These two are in the same font, but then this is like the classic New Times Roman or something. But anyway, nothing else. There's no spines or anything, just kind of some stamping here. I don't think this is like stamped in. I think this is just like foiled on. So be careful of that. So if you use this a lot and rub on it, it will start to wear off over time. And then here's the back. Nothing too special, nothing down here like some other Bible publishers do. Now, the other thing is you do have gilding. There you go. And then you have red tail and headbands. All right, without further ado, let's get inside the Bible itself. All right, so let's go in here. So inside you do have a vinyl paste down liner, so that's more I would say probably more protective, or it's more sturdy. That's what I meant to say, more sturdy than paper. And then down here it says genuine leather, and then you also have a vinyl end sheet. And then going into here, you do have the presentation page, presented to on the occasion, blah blah blah. And then on the back it does give the verse that I think a lot of these Bibles use. I think Zondervan uses this verse as well, but it's Psalms 119:105. It says, your word is a lamp to guide my feet and a light for my path. So that kind of gives you a little taste of the translation. And then Holy Bible. And then here we go. Here's the inside of the Bible itself. So at the top here, you see this weird little slanted QR code. So when you get the Filament app, you're actually going to scan this to start the process of setting up this Bible. So I'm not going to do that now because I'm actually filming on my phone, so I can't use that right now. Also, fun fact, these guys are in Carroll Stream, Illinois, which I believe is close to the same place as Crossway, and is just a few hundred miles away from where I live in Southern Illinois, so that's pretty cool. And then it's NLT, giant print, personal size. I love personal size. Very, very, very nice. And then you got this gigantic publisher's page, which, hey, if you want to read that, go ahead. But it just basically tells you that you can't use more than this much of the Bible in what you're doing, or else you'll bump up against their copyright stuff. And then down here, you also have the different color options or the different cover options. So like leather-like is their imitation leather, and then they have genuine leather for this particular Bible here. And then over here you have the contents, tells you about the Filament Bible, note to the readers, and introduction to the New Living Translation. And then you have the Old Testament, New Testament, Genesis to Malachi, Matthew to Revelation. And then down here it will tell you that there is a verse finder on page 1875 and a visual overview of the Bible on page Z1. So we will talk about that. Also down here it says, what do the in-text symbols mean in the NLT? So it's talking about asterisks. Basically what that means is it points to a footnote. It won't tell you, it won't say like, oh, this verse. It will just say, hey, if there's an asterisk next to it, then you go down to where the footnotes are. And I'll show you where the footnotes are in a second. So let's just look at what else we got here. So you got how to use the filament. So if you want to read that, go ahead and pause. And then we have note to the reader. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause. And then if you want to know about the translators, there's a website here as well. And then next we have the introduction to the New Living Translation. So again, if you want to read that, go ahead and pause it. So there you go. The one thing that you may, if you read the, separate these pages. The one thing you may have read in there was about their choice of dates. So the thing about the NLT is they translate the dates. So they don't say the first day of Adar or the 7th day of Abib or something. They'll actually give approximates in our modern calendar, which I'm a little unsure of. I'm not sure about that. You know, it kind of adds to the culture so we can kind of understand from our time when these things happen, but I'm not sure about those. All right, so here is an Old Testament page. Now, in my previous review about the BSB, I mentioned that their Bible does not have these, so this is the typical thing. You have an Old Testament page, and then you have Genesis. Now, with the Filament app, let me mention this before we start talking about the format and stuff. Up here, you see this little symbol next to this number 3 right here, right? So in your Filament app, you'll actually scan this page number, and it'll give you information about what's on this page. So that's super cool. All right, so let's talk about Genesis here. So let's talk about the formatting. So this, again, this is a 2-column Bible. From what I understand, I believe this is line matched from my looking. You just saw my hair real quick there. It does have bold pericopes, bold chapter numbers, super tiny little verse numbers. This is paragraph format, so the verse numbers are found in the paragraphs, not like a verse-by-verse Bible. And then down here, you'll find translator notes. So these aren't exactly like, these aren't cross-references. These are translator notes. So you see that little asterisk, that little star next to translator notes. I'll tell you that the first asterisk actually occurs here. Let me actually bring that up a little bit more. Occurs here in Genesis 1:1. So you see that little star there. So that's what they're talking about. That's how they do their footnotes. That's how they do their translator notes. So I don't know what the GSM on this paper is, but with the giant walls of text here and the fact that it is a line matched Bible, the ghosting is not going to be as bad because you're not going to have a bunch of text trying to bleed through, only in these empty spots. Alrighty. And one thing that I forgot to mention in my BSB review that I also notice here in the NLT, because I don't read the NLT a whole lot, but that there are times when certain things are separated. So here when it's talking about the different days and such, you do see some separation. It's not like this giant chunk of text like this. So that's what the BSB does that I really like, and it seems like the NLT does it somewhat as well. So yeah, so this is prose. So let's take a look. If I can find some real quick, we're going to take a look at some poetry. So let's see if I can find Psalms. Here we go. So here's poetry. So like with every other Bible that is paragraph format in prose, in poetry, it is verse by verse. So as you can see, again, giant numbers. It tells you what kind of psalm it is. Maybe it'll give the title of the psalm if it has a title or not. But then it'll also give you these giant chapter numbers. And yeah, because it is poetry, it is line matched, but because it is poetry, you do have more empty space here. And then again, you also have some translator notes down here as well. All right, so let's go to the New Testament, and you'll see that the New Testament has a feature that some people are fans of, some aren't, some are indifferent, and that is the red letters. So this is a red letter edition as I showed you on the box. So this is not a bad red letter. I'm just looking over it again. You know, a lot of times the red letters can be either really good or really bad or kind of faded on one end and not so much. But here you have the different, the different sections in red and such. Even down here, you'll notice that the little marker, if I can find it here, notice that the little marker there is also in red, telling you that there is a note there in verse 6. But the verse numbers themselves are not in red. So let me give you actually real quick a little flavor of the translation of this Bible, because this is more of a thought for thought, so it's not exactly translating word for word or the exact wording of the Greek, but what it's doing is it's translating the thought and saying like this is what they meant. So let me give you a flavor of that. We're going to go to 1 Timothy, and then we'll also go to the back of the Bible after that, but we're going to go to 1 Timothy chapter 3, or sorry, 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 6, if I can find Timothy. I know where Timothy's at, but here we go. So here's 1 Timothy. We're going to go to 2 Timothy, and we're going to go to chapter 3 verse 16, if I can get there. When you get this Bible, you may notice that some of these pages stick together, so just be warned of that. All right, here we go. Bam. All right, so let me give you a little flair. So verse 16 here is a very common verse. Everybody who knows about the Bible, who loves the Bible, knows this verse. But notice how they render it here. So it says, all Scripture is inspired by God and is useful to teach us what is true and to make us realize what is wrong in our lives. It corrects us when we are wrong and teaches us to do what is right. So I'm going to put on the screen here real quick a typical way of it being rendered, so you can kind of see that that's a very interesting way of doing it. Basically what they're doing is they're explaining those words and making them more clear if you weren't aware of that. All right, so let us go to the back of the Bible here. We're going to take a look at, and there's Revelation, we're going to take a look at the Tyndale Verse Finder. So basically what it is almost like a concordance, but not really. Because what it's doing is it's talking about these different topics. So you have accountability, adoption, spiritual adoption, adultery, advice, and then down here you have little phrases that mention those words or talks about those words, kind of uses like that concept, and then it gives you the references here. So you can kind of see, and it goes through I would assume it'll probably go, if there's a Z topic, there you go, worry is the last one. And then back here you have the visual overview of the Bible. So it gives you some maps, and then it gives you some other things. Let's look at that together, shall we? So here's the maps. I have to be honest that I have not looked at this much. I don't really look at the back stuff of Bibles. I mostly just read the Bible and find all my other stuff online. But here we have some maps, and then we also have something about the plagues of Egypt. And so you can kind of see here the different plagues. So water turned to blood, frogs, gnats, flies, cattle dying, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, and then the firstborn of everyone who wasn't Hebrew with the blood on the post. They'll be dying. So here's Abraham's traveling, and then you also have the Exodus from Egypt. And then over here you have something that talks about the annual calendar, which I need to actually look at this because this looks really useful. So that's really cool. And then you have the 12 tribes of Israel. And then you have the kingdoms of Israel as well again. And then you have the books of Psalms. And so this is really cool. So you see that they're kind of grouped together. And so you can kind of see how they're grouped. So these are praise Psalms. These are Thanksgiving Psalms, trust Psalms, wisdom Psalms, royal Psalms, God is King Psalms. There are, these are Messianic actually, and royal probably. Oh, these are royal. And then you have lament Psalms, vindication Psalms, and so on. And you can kind of see the different numbers of what Psalms those are. So that's really cool. I really like this. So here's, I guess the prophets. Again, I have to look at these. If you're really interested in kind of this idea, definitely buy this. Here's the maps, more information about Galilee, the ministry of Jesus, the time of Jesus. And here's different, looks like different miracles and where they take place. That's really cool. And then these are the prophecies of the Messiah. And so you see kind of these little different charts and stuff and how they correspond and how they connect. That's really cool. And then more maps. So here's the first journeys of the Christian leaders, Peter, Paul, and Philip. So you can kind of see where they're traveling and there. And then the Old Testament in the New Testament letters, so how they're referenced and such. So that's really cool. So I have read this Bible, but I haven't looked at the back stuff. So that's really cool. That's me discovering that for the first time while you guys are watching this. That's really cool. I knew that was there, and I've seen it a little bit, but that's really cool. So my final verdict is, I think this is an awesome Bible. I love the genuine leather. It's super soft, super nice. It bends, but it's not floppy like the BSB I recently reviewed. I like the red. I like the red and black. Red ribbon, super cool. I love that it has gold gilding. You may not get that for $50-something, but it's super awesome. I love it. I love the text size. Can I just talk about that too? The text size is super awesome. I didn't mention what the text size was, and I apologize for that, but I want to say it's probably either between a 10 and 11, so that's really cool. It's really big and super nice. Super readable for me, and I'm hoping it'll be super readable for you who love the NLT. So, if you are looking for a great NLT Bible and you want something that's solid, that will last you for a little while, that looks great, that has big text, right here, this big guy. I definitely recommend it. And you have Filament, so if you want to do a little Bible study as well in that way, there you go. All right, guys, thank you for watching this review by Bibles on a Budget. And remember, folks, the truth does not have to be expensive. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.